I want to start with a story. This is about a man who was talking to God. He says, God, how long is 1,000,000 years to you? And God said, 1,000,000 years to me is like a minute to you. So God, how much is $1,000,000 to you? $1,000,000 to me is like a penny to you. God, can I have one of those pennies? Yeah, just wait a minute. So, I want to talk to you today about elementary school. Elemen-Tree, T-R-E-E, school. The relevance of Tu B'Shvat. Because this is a holiday that if we are not creative, we might think that is absolutely relevant in the 21st century. You have to remember that Tu B'Shvat was huge at the time of the temple because you have certain things to do with your fruits and they were all temple related. And so in these days there is not much of the original sense of Tu B'Shvat, but it doesn't mean that it's not full of great symbolisms and great teachings. Specifically, the tree in the Jewish tradition brings lots of analogies, lots of symbolisms, lots of teachings. So I want to encourage you to stay for Torah L'chaim after Kiddush, so we will have a chance to explore many of the symbolisms of the tree. But right now, I wanted to focus on just one, and that is the trees are teaching us, that's why elementary school, the trees are teaching us to be patient. The trees are teaching us to be patient. And I believe that patience is something that we must learn in our lives. It's fundamental. We cannot go through this life without learning to be patient. Because, like it or not, you will have to wait for pretty much everything. I want to say this with all due respect, especially in Winnipeg. Come on, you call to the doctors, I would like to make an appointment. Great! What about October 13th? Yeah, that was next, yeah. Thank you for killing my punchline. What year? Yeah. But then you go to the grocery store, more likely you will have to wait. Sometimes you have to sit in traffic, especially if we have a little bit of snow. You know, I don't know how many of you happened last night, something like that. I was coming here for a family Shabbat dinner, but something that usually takes me 13 minutes took me over 40. And I have to wait in traffic. So, like it or not, you will have to go through situations where you will have to be patient. You will have to learn. And unfortunately, we're all born with impatience hardwired into our bodies. And I can see that in my little one, my son Ronen. He's 4 years old. And he was actually planting a plant at school to celebrate actually Tu B'Shvat at daycare. So he was so excited. He prepared the soil and he put the seed and he watered the seed. And then he came the day after, so disappointed, nothing happened. He came home. He said, it's all a lie. They lied to us. There's no plant, nothing happening because we did it yesterday and today nothing. So I explained to him that it's not something that is going to happen right away, that you have to wait because there have to be certain conditions for the plant to be visible. He didn't like my answer. He wanted the plant to be there for him right away. And that's not something that somebody taught him. That's something that he knew from birth. And it's something that we all come to this world with that concept pre-wired in our minds. We come here with impatience. But the problem is, we have to be patient. And I believe the problem with impatience is that we don't like to waste time. And we feel that when we are waiting, all that time is wasted. It doesn't go anywhere. But that's not the way it has to be. If you actually go to the example of the tree that I was talking about before, trees take years until we can see the fruits. But why is that happening that way? Because you have to understand that within the tree, first with the seed, and then when it's a sapling, and then when it becomes a tree, lots of things happen inside to prepare that tree to bear the fruits. If you plant a tree and it will bear fruits 3 months from the time you plant it, the weight of the fruit will more likely break it. And that tree won't be able to keep giving you fruits any longer. So when you're waiting, you are not wasting your time. You are preparing yourself for the time when the fruits are going to come. So then you're going to be able to enjoy the fruits, and you're going to be able to keep giving more fruits in the future. So then we have to understand that being patient is not just being able to not be stressed while you wait, but being patient is being able to use that time that you used to wait for something positive, for something productive. Let's study what happened, for example, with our patriarchs. Abraham. Abraham wanted to have a son, but he didn't have Isaac until he was 100 years old. So, talk about patience, right? He has to wait 100 years until he had his dreamed son. What did he do in between? He lived depressed. He was complaining every day because nothing was happening. No, go to the Torah. You know what the Torah is going to tell you? During those 100 years, Abraham was accumulating wealth. But I think this is a symbolism. This accumulating wealth means that he was doing something positive while he was waiting for his blessing to come. Wealth in the language of the Torah could have many meanings. Could be a skill, could be physical wealth, could be something that you're going to need in the future. But while you wait, you have to be preparing that. So whenever your blessing comes, you will be ready to enjoy it. For example, Isaac did not find a wife until he was 40 years old. And even after he got married, he has to wait 20 years until they have a baby. Jacob, he has to endure 20 years with Laban. What was he doing during those 20 years? Accumulating wealth, right? It says, the Bible describes, the Torah describes when he left, he has all these cattle with him. And I believe it's a beautiful symbolism to say that he didn't just sat there crying and being depressed because he was far away from home in the house of this nasty and evil Laban. He continued being productive. He continued preparing his life for whenever success is going to come. Look about Joseph, Jacob's son. He was thrown into the pit, he was sold as a slave, and then he was thrown into jail for 13 years for a crime that he did not commit. What did he do during those years in jail? You know what the Torah said that he did? He became the administrator of the jail. You know, he became being productive even in jail, and he became the administrator. I can imagine that it's very difficult to administrate a jail today. Back in the day of Joseph, even more difficult to administrate it. With very limited resources, he has to manage to feed, clothe, and keep alive all those other inmates. And it looks for the language of the Torah that he was extremely successful at that. After 13 years, he interpreted the dream of Pharaoh. He became the viceroy of Egypt. Now they knew that there's going to be 7 years of fat cows, right? Of abundance. And then 7 years of famine. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, you're going to be the one to administrate the resources to be sure everybody's going to be fed during the years of famine. How did he know how to do that? Where did he learn that skill? But he was in jail. Well, he was waiting. While he was waiting for his blessing, while he was waiting for his dream to be a reality, he wasn't sitting idle. He was preparing himself for the next stage. So, This is what we learn from the trees. The trees take, according to the Torah, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 years until we can enjoy the fruits. But it's not that nothing is happening. The trees are preparing themselves to bear fruits. So I believe in our lives it's exactly the same. We have our dreams. We have our wishes. We have our ideas. We have our projects. And we feel that so far nothing is happening. Well, that's not true. This is the time when you should be preparing yourself. Because when the time of the dream, when the time of the project, with the time that you start bearing those fruits come, then you are going to be able to enjoy those fruits and to keep bearing fruits in the future. So I believe beautiful teaching from the trees, to be patient, because sooner or later the blessing is going to come, even if sometimes we have to wait a minute to enjoy it. Shabbat shalom, everyone.